Hey everyone, I'm Jay. I'm a UK-based DP and colorist, and today I wanted to go over how we shot this pop music video using RGB lighting. I'll walk you through the lighting setups, the placements, and the whys behind each decision. So let's jump in. Starting with this first shot, we've got our singer and actor facing each other in this prom setting that our team had built from scratch. Looks really good. From the beginning, I knew that I wanted the narrative elements of the video to feel kind of like Euphoria, kind of like Anora, with the scenes with the deep blues and the very saturated reds, just to give it that filmy, moody, cinematic vibe. And to do that, we used two lights, and that's the Amaran F22C and 300C. So the F22 is boomed just out of shot here, or just above shot rather, and it's got the grid on it. And all that's doing is providing us with this hair light here, and also keying our main talent, and just getting little pops there and there. And for the 300C, we're doing the reverse, so that's up in this corner here, and you can kind of feel it here, and all that's doing is giving us this edge for the singer and the key light for our actor as well, and you can kind of feel it here, just in little pops. And this has got a Fresnel attached to it, just to keep the focus on our actor here and to not spill all over the scene. And both of the lights were placed behind talent, so that means we get all this nice shadow on this side of the face towards camera, just to make it feel a bit more three-dimensional and add a bit of depth to the scene. This technique is super simple. It's called cross key lighting, and all it means is that you're using a key and a hair light for both subjects, and they're both doing the opposite to each other. So one light is hair lighting and keying the other, and it's key lighting and hair lighting the other talent, if that makes sense. So those lights were the only ones that moved between shots, just to keep setup and teardowns quick. The other lights that we had in the space were just that, to light the space. So first of all, we've got these tubes here, and replicate the same here behind the drummer and our main talent. And all they're doing is acting like stage practicals. They're adding a bit of contrast to the scene, a bit of visual interest. And we've also got these 200Xs up here, acting as separation really for our main talent. We've got some haze in the room, and all that's doing is separating our main talent from the background. And you can just kind of feel that throughout, which is just bringing up the shadows and creating a bit of mood like you would see at a dance. We've also got a Nova off to the side here, which is just bouncing into the ceiling. You can just kind of feel that here, and kind of on stage around here. And all that's doing is lifting up the ambient level of the scene. I didn't want to use white, I wanted to use a colour, because you would typically see RGB lighting at a dance, and that might have moved from shot to shot, again, just to add the fill or the ambient level where we needed it. And there was actually one more fixture within the scene. It's the reason we picked the venue we went with. It's a disco ball, which was just above talent behind their heads, which we lit with a small rig 350D going into a aperture spotlight mount. And that was just this side of our actor, so it wouldn't hit this side of their faces too much. Because we knew that we were going to be shooting this way, I didn't want to add too much fill going here, so we still kept shadow side. And then when we started pointing the camera against these walls, you would see little dots from the spotlight, just to add, again, a bit more visual interest to help the audience buy into the world that you're at a prom. So this setup really was just a balancing act between style and speed. The style keeping the continuity the same, and the speed just moving quickly enough to make the day happen. So if we look at this second shot, I'll show you what I mean. So the setup here is almost identical. The tubes are still here for visual interest. The F22C is still up here, but you can feel it down here a little bit more now as well. The only thing that's changed is the key and hair light. So the 300C has moved over a little bit, just to make sure we're still getting this edge here. If it had stayed the same, it probably wouldn't have hit our talent here. And the same with the 3 the F22C, sorry, and all that's doing is adding the key again. And if we'd left that where it was, the stand probably would have just been here, which would not look good. So whilst the continuity might not be the same physically, all we're doing is cheating the lights over to make sure that each angle that we're getting looks the best it can. For our second setup, for our second scene, we moved into the bathroom, which was super glamorous, obviously. And we wanted to lean into that dingy, neglected, party kind of vibe. Quick shout out to our art department, James, producer, bit of doing everything here. The bathroom was spotless, obviously, when we showed up, but he's completely transformed it here. It looks great. So the lighting in the scene was super simple. It wasn't the biggest space in the world, so we couldn't really have stands on the floor just because of like the whole safety aspect of it all, and again, to move quickly. So all we did was we mounted a Aperture MT Pro to the mirror here using some adhesive magnets, which are really, really handy, and they were super cheap, so I'll definitely be getting those again. And all that's doing is keying our talent here and also giving us this edge here for the actual person, not the reflection. And although we're looking here and it isn't shadow side, we're still getting lots of shadow and darkness towards camera. So it's still providing us that depth, even though it's not the traditional Rembrandt lighting or however you want to see it. But in a real world, that wouldn't be the case anyway. So this works perfectly for what we needed. And to actually make it feel a bit dingy and a bit like grimy, I added the infinite bars on a auto pole above the stalls. You can kind of feel it there, just for that fluorescent, greeny, nasty kind of look, just to add to the ambience of the scene and make it feel a bit just dingy. So the setup really allowed talent to use the space, and we would work around them. We gave them their initial marks, you know, stand at the sink, sing, maybe face this way towards camera, and the camera would always be on this side. So if you've got camera here, the talent's here, and the lighting was here. So you'd always get the depth that you needed to create that three-dimensional image. But it also meant, like I said, there's no stand on the floor, there's no softboxes getting in the way. So the final light that we used, and we only used it on a few shots, was a tube light just off to camera left. And that was just used for the narrative when the artist turns around to look at the door. She gets a bit of level on her face and a catch light in her eyes, because otherwise she would have just fallen off into darkness because there was no light over there. But that was really it. It was super simple, super light, and allowed us to work very quickly within the scene. But to wrap up these two setups, the goal here really was to light the space and not the face, because when you've got nearly 10 lights, you don't really want to be moving every single fixture every time you change the angle. So we had the scene, let it do what it was going to do and be what it was going to be, and we moved the cross key lighting for the prom setup, and then for the bathroom setup, we just let it be what it was going to be. We knew the key light was going to be on the mirror, so we block around that. And that allowed us to really be quick and efficient. It allowed us to keep the momentum up and just get through the shots. People weren't waiting around for us to reset everything. And even with the bathroom scene, we didn't use any big softboxes. We just lit the space, allowed it to be what it was, and worked around it with the blocking instead. And that just means you're going to be a lot faster and you're going to get more variety of shots once you kind of set those limitations. But that is it, that's the breakdown. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please let me know below. And if you want to see more of these, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I shall see you in the next one. Peace.